This is an interesting report. It's actually just mirroring what has been a trend over the last, I think, 3 or 4 years. Myself, as survivor, of, a male survivor of domestic violence, it's something I'm quite familiar with. And I think the figures actually don't represent the reality, but the fact that the news is even coming out, I think it's a welcome development. So it continues to come out. The DSVRT should be commended. Titilola and her team, they've once again at least tried to shed some light on what's happening with men. So this report, based on an interview with her, is titled 194 Lagos men beaten by wives in the last 6 months, and this was published on the 19th of July 2021 this year. All right, so I'm just going to read it out just for the benefit of all those who might not have the access, or probably if you're driving and you want to just know what it's about, just read it out. And I think it helps also to just present it in as many formats as possible. So this is a written report, but I'm giving you an audio version. All right. So on Wednesday, the Lagos State Government Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team (DSVRT) stated that 194 males had been beaten by their spouses or partners in the previous 6 months. All right. The figure was published by DSVRT in its biannual report. The report, which was made available to journalists in Lagos, covers the period from January to June 2021. So this is very recent. I'm speaking to you today. Today is I think, the 16th of September, Thursday. So you know just how many months have passed since the report came out. It's very recent. The News Agency of Nigeria, NAN, reports that the figure is 44.33% higher than the 108 assault cases reported by men from January 2020 to June 2020. So this is a jump. Again, remember, I mentioned this at the beginning. Men don't even want to report. A lot of men, because they don't want to be ridiculed and shamed, don't even want to come forward. So you need to understand what you're seeing here is just a tip of the iceberg. According to the latest report, the DSVRT from January 2021 to June 2021 attended to 1,329 cases involving adults. The data showed that 1,125 of the adults, representing 85%, were female, while 194, 15%, were male. The data revealed that 77% of the adults were married, 11% single, 7% widowed and divorced, while 5% were cohabiting. In an interview with NAN, the coordinator of the DSVRT, Mrs. Titilola Vivour-Adeniyi, said that there had been a steady increase in reported cases of gender-based violence on the part of both men and women in the state since 2014. She, however, said that men had difficulty reporting incidents of assault by their partners, largely due to cultural norms. Vivour-Adeniyi said, this is a quote now, "Patriarchy is an enemy of everybody because it keeps people in silence. From a young age, males are not allowed to express themselves when they are experiencing trauma, and that lingers on to adulthood. When a man is experiencing violence, even his fellow men mock him, and such a person will not be able to speak up. With the data we are seeing, we are confident that when men are aware, they can report these incidents. They will be treated with empathy and professionalism, and they can be encouraged to speak up and report." End of quote. The report continues. The DSVRT report. Oh, by the way, let me just make a comment here. What she said about men getting believed, treated with empathy, treated with professionalism. Well, if you are dealing with Titilola and her team, I'm telling you, as a person that has dealt with literally all of them, okay, you will get that. Okay, I will say this: you will get that, but it's not something they're very busy. That's one thing. The second thing is, I also think they have to tread carefully. It's clear in the way, in their body language, that they know they have to tread carefully in handling men's cases because of the prevailing stereotypes. So don't expect they're going to get some kind of swift execution of whatever it is. Very often you will find that you really have to play the waiting game. You really need to be patient. So just keep that in mind. But you will get some mileage from dealing with her team. Now, if there's any other group that you are thinking you are going to get support from, based on my experiences, man, you're on a long thing. All right? Well, things might change, but right now I'm telling you, don't hold your breath. All right? So if your best bet, go to DSVRT if you're a man. All right. The DSVRT report revealed that of the 1,329 adults, 1,235 were aged between 18 years and 45 years, while 93 were 45 years and above. Further breakdown of the figures showed that 954 adults reported domestic violence, 53 reported rape, and 29 reported attempts to commit rape and sexual assault. The data also showed that 24 people reported sexual assault by penetration and threat, while 269 were for others. The DSVA, I'm deliberately reading the entire thing, so it's not like it's biased against men and women. So this report is about both men and women. The DSVRT coordinator told NAN that all the sexual violence cases had been charged to court. The Directorate of Public Prosecutions has requested for the case files. She's quoted as saying, all the cases of sexual assault by penetration are being prosecuted at the High Court. Again, this continues. She's still being quoted. I'm just continuing reading out exactly what she said. All the cases that are sexual assaults that do not include penetration are currently being prosecuted at the Magistrates Court. She continues. For sexual violence, that is clear-cut because all the cases are being prosecuted. Domestic violence, however, is not so clear-cut because not all survivors want prosecution. They want the abuse to stop, Vivour-Adeniyi said. So all those things you just heard now were quotes from her. The report also revealed that the top five local government areas in which the assaults were reported are Alimosho, 200 cases, Ikeja, 124 cases, Kosofe, 123 cases, Ikorodu, 115 cases, and Oshodi Solo, 95 cases. All right, that's the end of the report. I'm just going to give my final thoughts. Once again, the DSVRT is throwing up the data that backs up the fact and the truths that I've been screaming for years now since I became myself. I decided to begin my advocacy because I've been going through this for years. So of course, I to a great extent, I'm separated from all of that now. But the thing is, abuse takes many forms. It's physical, emotional, verbal, psychological. Even when you are separated, you maintain zero contact directly with the person, you can still experience abuse by way of emotional manipulation, psychological impact, and all of that. Especially when you share offspring with the person, so that abuse can still continue through those channels. The thing is, society is so numb, not even numb now, insensitive to all these dimensions of abuse. And this kind of abuse can happen to both men and women. So the victims, it doesn't matter what gender, you can be abused emotionally and psychologically even after you're separated from the person. Sometimes through your kids being used as a weapon against you. This can happen between men and women. But many times women do it to their ex-partners. They use the children as weapons. They weaponize the children against the other partner. And you really, as a man, if you really love your kids, you really have to make sure you do not get yourself into a position where you inadvertently make your child believe whatever the ex-partner is saying about you. So you've got to be more understand that the child is under psychological pressure, and therefore whatever you're experiencing from the child, it's not very likely to be the reality in terms of how the child truly sees you or feels about you. We as parents must be responsible in the way we relate with our children and not abuse them emotionally. Use tactics like emotional blackmail to get them to do what we want. Women do this a lot, but there are also men who do it. And the point is, it needs to stop. People need to avoid doing it. Most importantly, however, if you're a man, you're going through abuse, don't think it helps you. Don't let anybody tell you are a man, you don't have to talk. That is abuse on its own. Anybody telling you that, especially a woman telling you that, or indeed any man or woman telling you that, is actually inflicting more abuse on you. That's secondary abuse. Telling you are a man, you should take it. No, you shouldn't take it. Anything that makes you feel that way, you know it's abuse. Therefore, you need to get an outlet. You need to go and talk about it to somebody. Let them know it's happening to you and separate yourself to the source of that abuse. I'm saying this because some people think they're strong, they can take it. I thought I was strong, I could take it. Man, I'm just lucky. I'm still normal to them. Well, when I say normal, I mean, for God's sake, trauma is trauma. You don't ever really completely eliminate it. It's always there, the remnants of it. You probably never be the same, in my opinion. But at least you're alive. So don't let it get you to the point where you feel you have no other options. Get help immediately. If you are being abused, believe me, she may not lay a finger on you and she can destroy you with her tongue. That is the power a woman has. If you are on the receiving end of that, bro, get yourself out of that environment and get yourself to people that can help you. And like I said, it may be very useful for you if you have the means. Get down to the DSVRT. I think Lola is somebody you can depend on to a great extent. However, I do think they have their limitations in that area. The DSVRT cannot really help men as much as men need to be helped, and I think it's because I believe their hands are tied. I think they would love to do more, but I do believe there are certain things that hold them back from doing as much as they can and should do, in my opinion, especially in dealing with the person who is the abuser, who is a woman. I think many times they hold back. Okay, maybe because they're looking at the fact that the person is the one who is the primary caregiver to the children, but still at the end of the day, that is no excuse for letting somebody destroy another human being. But again, this is me just talking. I'm talking, however, from my perspective as a person who has experienced the abuse at the hands of a female partner. We all know if a man and woman had to face each other, let's be honest with ourselves, very often the man could literally destroy the woman. But we have been trained to exercise restraint. We would like our women to also be trained to exercise restraint in the power they wield. We wield more physical advantage over them. They wield, when it comes to the use of the tongue, my God, if a woman decides to go at you, she could destroy you with her words. And I know you. Those of you listening to me, you know what I'm talking about. If you've experienced abuse from a woman, you know what I'm talking about. Therefore, come on, we should all come together as men and begin to demand from society that it begins to challenge women to do better. I mean, watch Kevin Samuel. Please go to YouTube, Kevin Samuels with an S. He says it a lot in his videos when he interviews women and men. He talks about the fact that nobody's making women accountable. And he's very bold in saying it, and he's in America. So really what we need to do is all line up and kind of join him in this call, challenging society to do better with women, because it's not helping us. What we are creating are monsters. There are a few exceptions, but majority of our modern women are literally like monsters, really. They are what Dr. Olufumlayo in the UK called relationship hoodlums, and they are creating younger versions of themselves in the children they raise, who are girls. We need to stop this before it becomes a pandemic we cannot handle. All right, I hope this is useful. If you have any questions, if you need help, if you're a man going through abuse, you need some help, you need support. I'm not a professional, but I do offer information and education that can help anybody. Reach out to me using the contact details provided on the screen. Cheers.